It was clear night, spotless. The moonlight was like silver. The breeze was gentle. Even little Apple could rarely be so quiet, nibbling grass as it walked. The starlight was soft, falling over their robes, everything perfectly in place. Wei Wuxian and Lan Wangji had just finished a night hunt atop the mountain. The malevolent spirits were dealt with smoothly and thoroughly, leaving a sense of exhilaration. In the moonlight, Wei Wuxian swayed with a jar of wine, his beloved by his side, the warm breeze caressing his face. His heart was joyful and at ease. He strode forward with big steps, whistling a carefree, lively tune. Wei Wuxian's whistle rivaled the chenking flute. It could be lively, mournful, charming, or chilling, melodious and clear. Especially the ending notes, sharp and fine, like tiny hooks that could unknowingly ensnare one's soul. Yet Wei Wuxian himself was unaware. Smiling, sipping his wine and whistling, the tone was soaked in liquor, fluttering, nearly hypnotic. His voice was slightly drunk as well. Reaching the best part of his whistle, he raised his cup and sang aloud, "I cannot drink the moon while Lan Zhan is with me. Lan Zhan." Wei Wuxian tapped rhythm on the wine jar, turned back with a smile, calling Lan Wangji's name, only to find him holding little Apple a few meters away, standing still as if frozen in place. Wei Wuxian casually jumped backward, looking around. One hand felt the donkey. The other used the wine jar to nudge Lan Wangji's shoulder. Puzzled. "What's wrong, Lan Zhan? Why are you just standing here? Is something off?" "No." Lan Wangji's fingers clenched tight on the rope. His expression calm as usual, making it hard for Wei Wuxian to notice how hard he was restraining himself. Nor did he notice the fine blood vessels creeping into Lan Wangji's eyes. "Then why are you dazed here? Is little Apple misbehaving again? Wait, I'll punish him." Wei Wuxian scrutinized and blurted out without thinking, rolling up his sleeves and lightly tapping little Apple's head a few times to discipline him. Little Apple discontentedly shouted his protest. The donkey still had to be comforted by himself. Wei Wuxian rubbed the donkey's fur, saw it had mud on its mouth, and washed it clean with leftover wine. While washing, something suddenly occurred to him. He froze, nervously reaching to fumble on Lan Wangji's chest. "Lan Zhan, don't tell me you got hurt during the hunt. I saw you held the sword unsteadily on the mountain just now." "No." Feeling Wei Wuxian's fumbling touch, Lan Wangji's hand gripping the rope trembled slightly, the blood vessels in his eyes spreading further. He took a deep breath, adjusted his breathing, and looked at little Apple, who was sneezing from the smell of wine. Truly, he had no way to deal with Wei Wuxian. He smiled faintly, pulled him close, and said, "Let's go," then resumed walking. "You've been wandering outside with me for so long. Are you really okay? I heard your elder brother is still meditating. Do you want to go back and check?" Wei Wuxian had been fighting off evil spirits for half the night and walking such a long mountain path. Now he was a bit tired, so he climbed onto the donkey's back, resting his arms as a pillow and crossing his legs, lying down. "But when you go back, you'll definitely be scolded head to toe by your uncle, with no rest day or night." After the battle at Guanyin Temple, the two had been wandering around for more than 2 months. Wei Wuxian traveled companionably with Lan Wangji, happily roaming the world. But deep down he knew he couldn't selfishly keep Lan Wangji all to himself. After all, he belonged to the Gusu Lan clan and couldn't just aimlessly wander with him forever. He had to return to cloud recesses to share the burden of his family. But if he went back, he worried that Lan Zhan would get severely reprimanded by Old Man Lan because of him. Lan Zhan was graceful and dignified. He should be on the Yao altar looking down on all others. Wei Wuxian found it hard to imagine him being scolded till his face was ashen, unable to retort. "No," Lan Wangji said seriously as he looked at Wei Wuxian. "All rest at the high hour at cloud recesses." The answer was unexpected. Wei Wuxian laughed until his whole body trembled. He couldn't lie down properly anymore. So he got up and sat astride the donkey backwards, poking Lan Wangji's arm with chenking flute. "Lan Zhan, oh Lan Zhan, how come I never realized how interesting you are before?" After laughing his fill, He turned back to the main point, propping his chin on his elbow, idly twirling the flute with his free hand. Even though your family rests at the high hour, avoiding the endless scolding day and night, I guess, you still can't escape being scolded head to toe. Maybe even get a beating with the disciplinary rod. Thinking about how painful the Lan clan's disciplinary rod strikes are, and then about the whip scars crisscrossing Lan Wangji's back, Wei Wuxian sighed deeply, stretching his arm to gently turn Lan Wangji's face with the flute, blinking his starry eyes at him. I wonder if Han Guangjun is scared now. Do you regret liking me? Do you regret running away with me? Never, Lan Wangji replied with a light smile, unable to help himself as he reached out to rub Wei Wuxian's head. At this moment, Little Apple was thoroughly drunk, staggering more and more. Seeing that Wei Wuxian was about to fall off the donkey, Lan Wangji timely scooped him up horizontally, and Wei Wuxian naturally hooked his arms around Lan Wangji's neck. Like last time in Yunming, when he jumped from a tree and Lan Wangji caught him. Their gazes clung to one another, and Lan Wangji first lost control, leaning down to kiss the corner of Wei Wuxian's lips. After the kiss, Lan Wangji lightly twirled Wei Wuxian's brow with his thumb, looking at him with affection, then kissed gently from the corner of his mouth to the center, prying open his teeth to stir inside. At last, pecking the reddened lower lip left by the kiss. He only then let up. So, if others question, how could Han Guangjun be deceived by the Yiling Patriarch, colluding with him and abandoning his family? Wei Wuxian, satisfied, jumped down from Lan Wangji's embrace. He clearly knew the answer in Lan Wangji's heart, but deliberately teased him, wanting to hear him say it aloud. I lead my own heart. I have my own reckoning. Before Wei Wuxian could finish, Lan Wangji pushed him against a tree and sealed his lips. After lingering in the kiss, Lan Wangji solemnly whispered this sentence in his ear. It was amazing. Ever since confessing their feelings, they could barely say a few words before kissing passionately and unwillingly parting. Lan Wangji had only kissed him in this lifetime. Theoretically, he lacked experience and technique, yet he always made Wei Wuxian dizzy and weak in the knees. Wei Wuxian's lips burned from the kiss, his head spinning, yet he still lifted his hand to straighten Lan Wangji's forehead band. Relishing the previous answer, Wei Wuxian felt content, but suddenly frowned. As Lan Wangji leaned in for another kiss, Wei Wuxian raised a finger to stop him. Wait, Lan Zhan, why do I feel like I've heard those words before? I lead my own heart. I have my own reckoning. I lead my own heart. Wei Wuxian counted on his fingers and repeated the phrase once more. Just as he was about to repeat a second time, he suddenly looked up in realization. Wasn't this Lan Zhan? How did you? This was from his previous life, right after he had escaped from the mass grave and reunited with Zhang Cheng after 3 months apart in the Wen family's supervision hall. Having just joined forces to defeat Wen Chao, before any pleasantries, Lan Wangji came forward with a stern question, warning him that practicing demonic arts harms the body and even more the mind and heart, and insisted on taking him back to Gusu for punishment. At that heated moment, Wei Wuxian angeredly snapped back, I lead my own heart. I have my own reckoning. A whole lifetime had passed since then, and even he barely remembered what he said. Yet Lan Wangji remembered it vividly. Wei Wuxian paused, overwhelmed with feelings. He knew Lan Wangji remembered everything about him clearly, but he never expected him to recall even the quarrel from over 10 years ago so precisely. It must have been torture for him. Suddenly, Wei Wuxian realized that the word, get lost, he spoke in the cave back then, was remembered by Lan Wangji for over a decade, too. Wei Wuxian's heart twitched sharply. He thought about how that was their last meeting in the previous life, and he had left Lan Wangji with such a hurtful word. Lan Wangji endured torture for his sake, body and soul alike. But after those 33 lashes with the whip, he received no comfort whatsoever. From then on, whenever the long nights felt sleepless and he thought of Wei Wuxian, Lan Wangji's ears probably still echoed with that harsh, get lost. It was like an invisible blade constantly piercing and stabbing his heart. Wei Wuxian felt a bitter ache inside, unsure if it was sorrow or pain, yet guilt welled up in him, his eyes burning hot. Back then, when he practiced the path of ghosts, it was like walking a solitary plank to the very end. No way out. That's why he firmly declared, "I lead my own heart. I have my own reckoning." And for Lan Wangji to love him was just the same, a lonely plank with no retreat, also saying these words resolutely. Wei Wuxian traced the perfect line of the other's lips with his fingertip. His gaze fell into Lan Wangji's light yet abyss-like eyes that seemed to pull one into their depths. In that moment of eye contact, a flood of emotions surged through his heart. He stood on tiptoe and kissed him. His kiss was gentle and careful, as if licking old wounds. It was also as if Lan Wangji were sculpted from thin ice. If he sucked too hard, he might melt. Lan Wangji probably recalled back then, and the bottled-up bitterness suddenly exploded at once. His eyes glistened with moisture. The floodgates of his heart broke open, and he grabbed Wei Wuxian's collar, deepening the kiss heavily. At the moment they closed their eyes, tears fell onto the lips, mixing with the unknown saliva of either. Their heads turned softly for a long while before they stopped. When their lips parted, delicate silver strands of saliva stretched, still connecting them. Wei Wuxian gasped repeatedly, his expression softened gradually, and waves shimmered in his eyes. A stark contrast to the sharpness when he was dispelling evil spirits moments ago. Wei Wuxian smiled, unwilling to let go of Lan Wangji's neck, watching the silver thread between their lips, shining with moonlight, rubbing his nose teasingly against his lip. After kissing in the wilderness, joy surged in Wei Wuxian's heart, and it took him a while to calm his racing heartbeat. He took Lan Wangji's hand and walked a few steps, only to find the drunken little apple was gone. Little apple. Wei Wuxian cupped his hands around his mouth, calling out, running a few meters searching around, but saw no sign of the little drunken donkey, so he stood still and whistled sharply. As soon as the whistle sounded, Little Apple dashed out from behind the dark green grass. "Where did you go, Little Apple?" Wei Wuxian chided, flicking its head with a finger, and pulled the rope. Just about to hold Lan Wangji's hand, he found it empty. Wei Wuxian turned around and saw Lan Wangji hadn't followed. He was standing by a nearby tree, one palm resting against the trunk, staring at Wei Wuxian with a strange expression. Wei Wuxian led the donkey back and looked at Lan Wangji with confusion, only then noticing his flushed face and fine sweat on his brow. "Lan Zhan, why are you so strange today? Are you really not hurt? Why aren't you walking anymore?" While he was busy worrying about Lan Wangji, the loosely held rope was pulled back a few steps by Little Apple, who had lifted its forehooves trying to run again. "Hey, hey, don't move." Helpless, Wei Wuxian whistled a few times to calm the restless donkey. When he turned his head, he was startled. Lan Wangji's breath was heavy, his nails digging hard into the tree, his expression painfully restrained. Suddenly, his free hand grasped Wei Wuxian's shoulder. Wei Wuxian clasped Lan Wangji's hand in return and finally noticed the fierce passion blazing in his eyes. Why Lan Wangji was so abnormal became clear, but Wei Wuxian could hardly believe it, yet felt an inexplicable joy. He leaned close to Lan Wangji's face, lifted his chin, and gently tested a few whistles while the hand resting on Lan Wangji's chest slowly slid down, settling at a certain place. Lan Wangji had nowhere to avoid it and awkwardly turned his head aside. The whistle abruptly ceased. Wei Wuxian's lips parted slightly in surprise and his pupils trembled. The thing in his palm actually swelled and became warm in response to his whistle.